Welcome students. Today we are focusing on Russia reclaiming the fourth position in terms of the size of economy, and it's now fourth in position in terms of purchasing power parity. Before we understand its journey, whether it was easy or not, and how healthy was the growth, let's first understand what is purchasing power parity terms and what is a consolidated GDP measure. So, if you look at the purchasing power parity terms, Russia is fourth, as we said. Now, as we know, GDP is consolidatedly sum total of all the economic activity that happens within the territory. But when we go for the purchasing power parity, it's about the capacity, it's a measurement of ability of the people within the territory or the subjects which a sovereign rules, their purchasing power parity. That means their ability to buy goods and services is what we are concerned with, for which we need to use an indicator or a ratio. That ratio would measure basket of goods. This basket of goods is nothing but the essentials and few luxury items put together, usually used for an inflation indicator. The same basket is used to deflate the impact of the GDP in terms of nominal part. So, can we consider purchasing power parity the same deflation as bringing a real to nominal or nominal to real? The answer would be no, because the goods that are essential would be different in different countries. So that's how, hope you understood the difference between deflating from nominal to real and what purchasing power parity would be. If yes, let's move on to the next part, whether the journey was so easy to reach to that fourth position. The answer is not an absolute yes, because the Western Bloc and America, when I say America, I'm referring to USA, has put sanctions, and together they were creating hurdles for Russia. The first one was CAATSA, which is countering American adversaries through Sanctions Act, which comprehensively banned trade with Russia. The second one was restricting them from SWIFT. I think you might be aware about SWIFT, which is a communication mechanism for transactions. So the CAATSA and SWIFT together has created a biggest hurdle in terms of transactions and trade. Despite the trade, still Russia was growing. So this growth was at cost of two industries. Those two industries were growing. And the first industry was defense industry. When I say defense, the thing that comes to your mind was Ukraine-Russia war. So the domestic demand, the Russia itself was in dire necessity of more arms and ammunition. Similarly, with expectation of extended war, other countries who were allies of both sides were buying arms hugely. This is according to the CIPRI report. So, India is again topping that list, as we bought S-400, etc. Then the other industry is oil and petroleum. This oil and petroleum industry grew immensely. This is because after every war and before the war, even the supply chains were squeezed due to pandemics, etc. The demand for oil and petroleum was huge, and the prices were rising like anything else. At this juncture, the same sanctions which we were mentioning were surpassed using a different rule. And the rule that was considering was rule of origin. When I say rule of origin, it's from which country the trade is happening. This rule was surpassed easily by a methodology which is considered as refining and reselling. When I say refining and reselling, countries like India and China were involved in it. They were buying oil from Russia. They were refining it. For suppose it was in Jamnagar's refinery that they were refining it and reselling it back to the Europe, which was directly sent earlier. So both India, China and Russia benefited with this. Russia was huge beneficiary because the major raw material, the crude oil, was from Russia. So these two industries grew. But again, when I say but, you need to focus here. They were growing at cost of other industries. They were growing at cost of other industries because other industries except these two were nearly diminishing, and this diminishing effect was actually reducing or creating a drag to the economy. So, is this growth healthy is what we need to ask question. To understand whether the growth was healthy or not, we need to understand what Dutch disease is. Rather than going for the terminology, how did that emerge? Let's understand what Dutch disease is. For suppose, an industry is growing at higher cost and it's offering salaries at lucrative prices, not just lucrative, but very huge than other industries. If it's happening, the workforce would shift to that particular industry. So these two industries which we were referring, oil and petroleum, and the other industry, oil and petroleum, other industries, defense industry. See, defense and oil and petroleum are pulling the human resources towards them. Presently, most of the Russian youth are employed in these two industries, and the Dutch disease emphasizes in a situation which happened actually in Dutch and some other African countries which are resource rich. Oil and petroleum is a natural resource. Even the defense requires a lot of natural resources. So the resource rich industry actually acts as curse. That's the reason many countries with huge natural resource are not able to grow. Even within India, if you look at Jharkhand, Bihar, those are backward districts. Even the Kalahandi district of Odisha, where and even the Chhattisgarh are not so economically sound. Even in the purchasing power parity, they are not that great because it's a kind of resource curse. When people are employed by such industries, they are at cost of other industries. So slowly other industries would starve and die. They can't survive with better quality human resource as they can't offer as lucrative salaries as these industries. Then, in case there is a slowdown in these industries or any other industry, maybe mining or some natural resource industry, in that case, the unemployment will be very huge that the economy not just suffers but plummets. That's referred as Dutch disease. It's a weakness that is developed with over-reliance on one or two industries. So it's not the sectoral growth but the overall growth that is required, without which the growth is not sustainable in long run. So what could be the solution? Couple of countries have identified this earlier and taken actions about it. Countries like UAE or Saudi Arabia have diversified their economies. Now they are not just reliant on, Dubai's economy is not just reliant on oil and natural resources. They have tourism, they have other real estate industries, and even the financial settlements that they create is real boost to their economy. So this such diversification. So the solution is diversifying industries. When I say diversifying industries, not just about manufacturing, service. Within the service, you need to diversify towards many industries. Maybe hospitality, maybe other kind of tourism, etc. So such circuit that you create helps you as panacea towards the Dutch disease which we are referring to. So hope you are with some clarity that we discussed today. The growth in mere terms are not necessary, and the diversity is very much important thing that we need to focus on. And this would be the lesson even Indian economy need to learn. Even many states who are just reliant on mining or other natural resources need to learn. With this, insights, I would end today's day, and another day with much better informative topic I would be back. Till then, thank you and bye.